Reuniting fans, your podcast, Coffee and Valkyries, is back for this season, or at least we're going to try to be back this season to do more interviews with players. For this first episode of the 2023 season, we have assistant coach Scott Parkinson. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure.
So how's life in Seattle been for you so far this couple of months?
Beautiful. So far, so good. I'm over in West Seattle where we're having coffee right now. So I love it over here. Lovely vibe. I'm loving the beach, the water, the nice view of Seattle. And Laura lives really close by, so I can bug her whenever I want to bug her and knock on the door whenever I need to.
So for Rain fans that may not know, this is your second time working with Laura as one of her assistant coaches. You first worked with her when she was the head coach at Utah Royals. If you can just talk us through, you were head coach at Gotham, and then how that came about for you to reunite with Laura after that.
Yeah, it's been, I think me and Laura met probably 9 years ago on a coaching course in Casa Grande, Arizona, I think it was a B license. And she actually offered me a job to come to Seattle then. I moved here. I got a place in West Seattle, and I actually drove home a week later because the job fell through. We stayed in contact with each other, and probably 2 or 3 years after that, I was a college coach in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she was following my games. I was following the Rain games. She gets the job in in Salt Lake, and she gave me the call. Really tight. We have an amazing bond. I think we knew that when we first met each other, we'd get along really well. We like to do things, similar things in our time off. We like the water, we like golf. Laura left, and I went with my wife to Chicago, and I was the assistant coach at the Red Stars for 1.5 years. And my wife got an amazing job in Chicago. And then the Gotham job came up, which I took, and I had a year there, and then obviously it didn't work out, I think, as we all wanted it to, which is fine. And then Laura returns close to when I went to Gotham, and then Sam moved to Houston, and it was almost like perfect timing. Laura needed someone. I was looking to get back in and continue working, and the opportunity presented itself, and probably took a little bit longer than we both wanted, but we knew we'd wanted it for probably about 6 weeks, so we were working on making it work, and I'm really glad that it did. Happy to be back together.
Awesome. Couple of follow-ups from that timeline you just gave us. Your time as head coach at Gotham, obviously, you gave it your best. It didn't work out. What did you learn about yourself from the aspect of, okay, you've gone from assistant coach, you get your licenses, you get your shot to be the head coach, and then, you go through that experience. Like, what did you learn about yourself in terms of getting that job?
Yeah, I think the thing I learned about myself was I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in myself. I still believe in myself. And I think what I learned was how big of a job it is to take the big job, to be the leader of everyone and everything. I think I learned what types of support I need around me in order for me to be successful. And I also think the word that, it doesn't haunt me, but I think it's the word that sticks out the most about the Gotham experience was probably alignment. And I probably didn't find a club that I was aligned with the front office, with what they were looking for long term, and what I was looking for on long term. So I just think there was a lack of alignment, and when you have a lack of alignment, I think every decision should be made to like a North Star, and I think a lot of decisions were kind of made to two separate stars, which is totally fine. I think that happens in a lot of places. So I think I know that I need to be supported, and the support probably wasn't quite there, like it is now, which is great. They're doing great things now, Gotham, with how they train, their pre-season, their coaching staff. So it's great to see. So I think that was the biggest thing. I'm not superhuman, and I do need support. And then I probably need to do a better job of making sure that I'm aligned with them and they're aligned with me when a contract is signed.
Right.
I didn't know that going in, but I know it now.
Yeah. All right. And then you talked about, you meet Laura in these coaching courses. She calls you up to be her assistant when she goes to Utah. And then, you guys do that. She leaves coaching club for a little bit. You go to do your own thing, and then she comes back halfway through the 2021 season, and then, she's still here.
Yeah.
You're back with her. What sort of changes or growth have you seen from her compared to your first stint working with her down in Utah?
Good question. I think I keep telling her that she's driving a really high intensity in training sessions, and it's not that she didn't used to. What she's doing right now is extremely high. She will push the players. She will create an environment that's really tough, kind of steel sharpened steel type of mentality, and that's probably been the biggest one where I'm wow, this is we're coming here to train, and again we trained at an amazing high level in Utah, but I think what I'm seeing right now is a level that is pretty special.
Do you think that's because of the talent around this team? Because you have a squad that has 3 original players that have been here since the inaugural season, and the expectations for this team is just so high. They win the Shield last season. Fell short in the playoffs, but on paper, this is a team that should always be competing for a playoff spot at the bare minimum, but also the Shield and for the NWSL championship. Do you think that that intensity that she's brought to training that she didn't before, you think it's because a reflection of the squad that you guys have? They have, it's not necessarily win now, but it's the expectations are you have to win.
Yeah, so she's always brought intensity to training. The intensity that I'm seeing right now, I've never seen anyone bring. It's a new level of intensity. I think that's what's standing out. And I don't think it aligns to who she's coaching. I think if she coaches anyone, if she coaches the youth team, she's always going to be Laura Harvey, and she's always going to do it her way. So I think we're lucky to have the team that we have. And I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons that they're probably all still here is because she's here.
Yeah.
People want to play for her. Yeah. People love her to bits. So yeah, sometimes it's actually easier to push people that you don't know and that you're not close to. To see her doing it with this group is it's so good to see.
Nice. There was a follow-up question I had along those lines, but I just completely forgot it.
It's okay.
I'm sure I'll come back to it later. Let's see here. So, this was a question. So you've spent some considerable time in the league. You've coached against some of these Reign players, for many years. You've seen what they can do against players you've coached. But now that you're on this side and you're working with them day in, day out of training, has anything been a revelation for you towards working with some of these players, or kind of a confirmation of you knew what they can do on the field, or reputation-wise, and this is why they've been such a headache for me as an opposing coach in years past.
So it's funny that I actually haven't played against the Reign a ton without Laura. I never played them in Gotham. I think they just played them when I got the job. And I just left, and Gotham's next game was Seattle, so I actually haven't played against them in a while.
Oh, okay.
But I've obviously have played against them before, and watched them in the league consistently. I think that they are amazing players, and I knew they were amazing. And I don't want this to sound too cheesy, but they're actually incredibly good people. And sometimes with top level players, there's ego, and that is normal. I think everyone should, but there's just a real togetherness here, that they care about the club, they care about where we train, they care about how we train, they care about how we travel, they care about how the staff are treated, they care about they just care. And I know Laura said to me in the past, especially when it was getting close to me coming here, there's something about this group that's hard for me to put into words. You've just got to feel it and be in it. And she's right, it's hard, but there's something special where, Megan Rapinoe trains like she's a rookie.
Yeah.
The rookies get treated like they've been here for 10 years. It's a really safe place where everyone can be themselves. So yeah, I think the biggest shock has just been how welcoming they've been. And you know, it's made me feel comfortable. It's allowed me to be myself. And I think after you go through a bit of a shitty year, like, I think you can doubt yourself a little bit, and this group's not allowed me to ever feel that way. They've respected me, they've seemed to enjoy me. So yeah, honestly, it was the perfect move for me.
Okay. Related to that, yesterday, Bethany Balzer posts Instagram story, a picture of you talking with her, and she was just having some fun with it and said, guess what Scott and I are talking about? Wrong answers only. Can you share with us at least what you guys were really talking about?
We were actually talking about all the managers getting fired in the Premier League. So I think she probably come to me because I may have experienced it. No, all joking aside, obviously I think Conte had just been let go at Spurs.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we were talking about. Maybe Graham Potter had just been fired too at Chelsea. And we were talking about, you know, I think at the time it was 13 managers had been let go out of the 20 that would have started the Premier League.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first. That was the conversation.
Okay. Related to that, I guess this might be one of the more painful questions for you, but I've also asked you this like sometime last year when they pulled off the Great Escape. They're going to do it again. You're Everton. Are they going to somehow pull off another Great Escape?
Yes, I think they are. I'm liking what I'm seeing with Sean Dyche. I like our fixtures compared to others. Right now, today, we're safe. We're in a safe position by goal difference. I think it's 10 goals to Forest. And looking at Forest's schedule, Forest's team, our schedule, our team, our manager, and the way we're playing, I think we're going to just be okay. I'm still nervous.
Yeah.
But we are, I think it's us and Arsenal. We've been in the Premier League for the longest amount of time, I think 70 plus years. So I think we've been through it. And sometimes having been through it helps you. So I am feeling optimistic. We're building a new beautiful stadium on the waterfront in Liverpool that we've been dying for years, and for 20 years we've been trying to build down there, and it's halfway done. And we do not want to be playing Plymouth Argyle
right
in that stadium. No offense to Plymouth Argyle, but we want to be playing in the top level, and it's what the club and the fans deserve. So yeah, I'm optimistic.
All right. It's unfortunate that my colleague Susie isn't here with us because we had joked about when they had officially announced you joining the staff. We had tweeted out like, oh, you and Susie could get together and record a podcast commiserating about Everton.
Well, no, there'll be no commiserating this year. Me and Susie can do it whenever she wants.
All right. That's awesome. I think a question that fans might be curious about, just your overall, just what your coaching style is like, if you can just describe that for us.
It's a good question. I think my coaching style is catching people doing it right. I think I prefer to help a player see themselves doing it well, and then catching them doing it well in the training session and being vocal in that moment. Z scored an unbelievably good goal today in practice, and she's been working on it. How to take her first touch to be a real problem quickly to defenders. She's been working on it. She's talked to coaches about it. She practices it, and today she did it, and it was a huge scream across the field to me. Eye contact, a bit of a fist bump. So she knew that's it. That's what you've been working on. Like, good job. So I think if I have a preferred style, it's probably catching them doing it good.
Okay. That brings me to a fascinating question that I've been curious about for a long time, and kind of got to ask a couple of players about it a few weeks ago. As a coach, we're all understanding that everyone has a bad day in the office, and so I'm curious as a coach, you don't have to give any sort of specifics unless you want to, but like when a player is just having a bad training session, and you guys can tell, you can read the body language, like they're just having an off day. Like, how do you guys, or how do you kind of acknowledge that, recognize it, but also don't treat it as like an indictment that, because they had an off day on Tuesday's training, that you can't rely on them to be a starter for the weekend.
Yeah, I think the thing that most coaches do is they normally go off like bodies of work rather than just like a training session or a day. I think I've had poor training sessions or things have not gone how I've planned them, as I'm sure the players will some days come in and maybe feel like they didn't quite get out of the training session once they wanted to get. So I think creating an environment where it's okay to have a bad day, it happens. I think figuring out why, and if you need help on solving that, or you've got it yourself and it was just a bad day. I think we have a staff that has some decent emotional intelligence where we'll all kind of speak to each other on, hey, she didn't look herself today, and then maybe Laura will say, I got it, or it'll be, do you want me to just go have a little word? And we will just navigate it kind of that way. I don't think anything needs to be too out in the open or too formal, but just a little shoulder to shoulder. You doing good today? We're good. Everything okay? And you know when it's not. And we just want them to know that we're there for them. Everyone's entitled to a bad day, and if they need us to help them, we want them to know that we're here for them. I don't think we always have to solve all of their problems. Sometimes just leaving them alone to sit with whatever they're sitting with and knowing that we're there is the best way to do it. Yeah,
that so when I asked that topic or that question towards a couple of players about a month ago, I think it was Olo that had talked about how there was one training session where she was just like not touching the ball correctly or had missed something, and Pino had just kind of made eye contact with her without even saying anything, but just with her eyes was just kind of saying, you got the next one, and kind of sure enough she did, and just kind of what you had just been talking about kind of brings up to culminates what we've heard from other players, whether they're the originals in Fishlock, Barnes, Pino, or like the newer faces like Olo, etc., about how welcoming the environment is. And in terms of like what Laura had told you before, like it's hard to describe it. You just have to come in there and see it and feel like. And myself and some of my colleagues have been fortunate enough to kind of witness parts of that by attending training, just kind of from afar, reading that body language. Everyone's there to have a good time, but also very there to support each other, physically, emotionally, all of that stuff. So I guess it's just nice to hear from your perspective, from what the coach's angle in terms of like, what do you guys do when somebody's just having an off day for whatever reason, and then how you guys try to give it respect and also acknowledge it, but without making it seem like it's an indictment. We can't rely on them come game day.
No, I think Laura and the club have done a really good job of building a roster that we rely on, and then within that, people are going to dip out of form, maybe be a little bit under the weather, maybe have a slow week, but I'm sure we're looking at it from a body of work. We know what they're up to, we know what they can do, and we trust them all. But just being there when they do fall, help pick them up, dust them off, and get them back up again. And as I say, with this group, like Pino making eye contact with Olo, a lot of the players do that for us. There's a lot that won't even come to Laura or myself because the players are able to pick each other up and be there for each other too, which again is a part of that kind of special thing that's hard to put into words. It's just something. And I hope, and I'm actually confident that not every player plays forever. I'm hopeful that that with this group, that if and when people do decide to, move on or stop playing, that kind of special sauce stays at the club.
Yeah.
I think some of the best clubs in the world can have success for 10, 15, 12 years because it sticks with people and it goes down to the younger kids, and they carry the torch. So I think the way it's done here so naturally, it leaves me optimistic that there's a bright future here for a long time.
You mentioned that Z had put in a cracker of a goal at training. Can you just kind of paint us a picture of what that goal looked like?
I think it's just Z being Z. I think picking the ball up off a bit of a diagonal, taking a really good touch and shooting across the goalkeeper and putting it in. It wasn't the finish. Z finishes like that all the time. It was her positioning and how she beat the defender with her touch. So just Z being Z. But again, Z being Z on things she's worked on. So yeah, I think it's been a really good week this week. I was saying to Laura after training that there's so much where the players all want to get better individually on little things, and like today I've seen a lot of them things happening with a lot of players on things that they've been really deliberately trying to get better at, that they want to get better at, and it's been a good 5 days training.
Cool. When you guys are doing training, is there any sort of specific aspects that you like to work on, or is it kind of you just go wherever Laura wants you to be working on? Like, do you focus on, like, say the defense or like the attackers? Or
no, I'm pretty holistic on everything. I think if we were to explain it on any given day, it would probably be predominantly planned by me and Kate, and then shared with Laura, and then Laura makes her tweaks, changes to the plan, but the plan always starts from what Laura wants for the week or wants for the session, and what the sports scientist wants and all things like that, and then me and Kate try and jumble all that together and create something that we think will pull out what Laura wants to pull out and test the players on things that we want to test them on. And then there can be some days where she'll send us, this is what we're doing today, and we'll draw it up and we'll get it all ready. So it has a really nice flow to it now. Me and Kate are brand new. We'd never known each other before coming here, and we're both working for Laura in Seattle for the first time. So I feel like we've got ourselves in a nice groove now where we're pretty organised. Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows what's expected. So yeah, that's how we roll.
Awesome. So you earlier talked about how you and Laura share a lot of same similarities in terms of what you guys like to do off when you guys need your own personal time to not be thinking about football. What's the thing or things that Scott Parkinson likes to do when he wants to not think about football?
I love to play golf. Absolutely love it. And in Utah, when we got there, for whatever reason, it was incredibly cheap, like super cheap, like $14 a round, and the courses were stunning. So I was using that time as my downtime. First time I'd been in the pros, so it was nice to unwind a little bit. And me and the goalkeeping coach, Jason Batty, we'd go a lot. And Laura ended up asking, can I come? So I said, yeah, absolutely, let's go. And she ended up getting the bug. So we were there, we would play a lot, we would plan training out there, we would talk about games and strategies out there. So yeah, if I'm excited for the rain to just move out a little bit more, and then I think I'm going to try and get the golf clubs out a little bit more often.
Awesome.
And there's actually a course next to the practice facility in Starfire, so I'm going to try and hit that up a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, time to move on to the fun questions. These are some questions that we've asked the players over years.
Okay.
This one is a food question. Okay. It's not candy corn related like our dear friend Jenna has asked many of Gotham's players. Yeah. But this one has been a fun question to ask the Reign players over the years. Where do you, Scott Parkinson, stand on pineapple on pizza?
I'm a no pineapple on pizza. Yeah, even today there was like some sort of potato salad after training, and it had raisins in, and I don't want any fruit near my kind of savoury type of stuff, so absolutely no fruit near my food.
That's fair. Probably one of the most entertaining answers we've had that's against pineapple on pizza was Jess. Like, she was so emphatically against it. Like,
For Jess, yeah, exactly. Well, me and Jess are from a similar place.
right.
I'm a Scouser from Liverpool. She's obviously Welsh. We have a very similar upbringing and probably palate.
Yeah. So this was another question that we asked the players last season. This was kind of a running gag, but it all started because of Fallon's, interest and passion in marine biology, and Nikki being, I guess, the team goofball. But do you?
She's much more than that.
Yeah, I know she is. But do you, Scott Parkinson, think mermaids are real?
I do not. No, sadly, I wish they would be. I think it'd be really interesting, but no, mermaids are not real.
Somehow Nikki's gonna hear about that and can try and make a pitch to change your opinion on that.
No.
If you were in charge of the team's match-a-day music playlist, what song would you put on?
So, this is the most random answer you're going to receive. So, I played college in Oklahoma, and the playlist was country, always. And the song that came on just before we played was John Deere Green, a country song, and it's actually not even very good. But I think it's like, is it Pavlov's dog, where you start to drool when you ring the bell?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it does to me. It makes me feel like it's game time. So John Deere Green, a country song.
Okay. Did you? Were you listening to country before you were playing in Oklahoma, or it just kind of?
It was when you get to Oklahoma, that was everything, and now I love it. I have if I listen to music in the car, I normally just think in the car. It's like a bit of a downtime. Like think about training, think about whatever. But if I do have music on, it's always a country station.
All right. That was pretty much it for the fun questions that I have here. So really the last thing to just talk about is give the floor to you to just kind of talk about Saturday's home opener against San Diego Wave FC, and just kind of what how you and the team are feeling about that.
Yeah, no, super excited. It'll be my first home game. I've been to Lumen to see the Sounders, so I'm really excited personally to be in there. Excited to see all the fans and see the players play in front of their fans. I know they're excited. And then San Diego's a tough team, well coached, very solid, very direct, but direct with a purpose. So I had some problems with them last year when I was at Gotham. I think when you coach for Seattle Reign, you're confident with any team on the planet on any given day. But as I say, it's the NWSL. Anyone can beat anyone, so there has to be some respect there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get our players back tonight after they play their internationals, and we can all get together and prepare for hopefully what will be a fun game.
Well, Scott, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us, and all the best to the team this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate you.